Alright, this isn't anything that you guys haven't already seen in some of my videos, but I'm just bringing that quenching oil up to 175 degrees. Once I get it up there, man, it really maintains its temperature for a long time, because there's a lot of oil in that big ammo can there. And we have the knives in the furnace, and we've only had it on just a few minutes, and we're up to 477 degrees, and we are going up to a preheat temperature of 1200 degrees. And we're going to hold them there for about 15 minutes to 20. They don't really know if that's necessary, because this furnace really brings up steel to temperature quite slowly. So when we're at 1200 degrees on the pyrometer readout right there, then we're probably going to be heated pretty well through. But I like to stay there just for about 15 minutes or so, just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to bring them up to the hardening temperature of 1475. And there they will soak for a full half hour. At which point they're going to come out and go in to that oil quench. And then before they have a chance to come down to room temperature, we're going to bring them up to a drawing temperature of 475 degrees for 2 hours. And that, by the recipe, yields a Rockwell hardness of 58 to 60. And with these steel manufacturers, they provide the heat treating information, and I'm telling you, that recipe was come up by metallurgists and engineers, and I trust them. I've had good results. I just go by what they say, and I've never been let down. So we're just going to let this proceed slowly to our temperatures, and then we'll get them quenched and then into a drawing oven, which I have a little oven set up over there on the other workbench just at the end of it, and nothing fancy at all, but it does hold a nice consistent temperature. And we'll get those in there, and we'll see them again when they are out of the draw. We'll come back on the video when we quench, because it's kind of cool, kind of dramatic. I don't know. Just like I like watching it after I'm done, and you might too. So anyway, folks, we'll be back. Okay, we've been at our preheat temperature for about 5 minutes now. So we're going to let this just let this soak for about another 15 minutes, and then we'll bring it up for a half hour soak up to 1475. Now this steel arrived at my shop, precision ground, normalized, fully annealed, and now I have done everything in my power to upset all that and impart a lot of stress into the metal with drilling and then all the grinding. And that stress needs to equalize and normalize out, and that's why we soak at our hardening temperature and let all of that stress relax in the steel. And then of course when we take it out and quench, we put it all right back in there, and that's what the draw is all about. But when we get up to austenite temperature of 1475, some really nice changes start happening in that steel. And not to get into a bunch of metallurgical stuff, that soak at 1475 is the most important step during heat treatment. And then when we come out, we're going to go into warmed oil, 175 degrees. And with this 01 oil stock, oil hardening stock, the key is to bring it out of austenite temperature quickly, but not too cold. You don't want to drop it down below 175 degrees. It's a little picky in that sense. It's pretty forgiving stuff, but you don't want to ever come down into cold oil. You can thermal shock it and get your cracks that you're trying so hard to avoid. So we'll take them both out after the prescribed time at the prescribed temperature, and get them down to 175 or so. And at that time we'll have had the drawing oven over there already heated up, and we're just going to do a quick wipe down to get the oil off, and they're going to go on this little refractory brick that I made with a couple of slots in it. I have a few of these, I can do about 4 knives in my little drawing oven. And in they will go for 2 hours at 475 degrees, and that's going to yield the results we want. And while it's drawing, I'm going to roast a chicken Sunday night, and it is about 60 degrees. Beautiful weather today, kind of sunny. Very rare for the 22nd of January. But we're going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to be grilling on the deck. Just having a good time. But yeah, I'll be glad to get the knives out of this state, and the rest of the assembly and finish will go pretty smoothly. So we'll come back when we're pulling them out and going to quench. Alright, we've been a good solid 30 minutes at 1475. So it's time to quench them. And at 1475, that's not too intense. But if I were doing D2 at 1850, I might wear a glove for this. It gets a little warm. Alright, there's the full tang version, and just straight into the oil. Then you want to move it, straight line. You can kind of feel it protesting a little bit up through the plier handles here. Vibrates a little bit. I like to soak this for about 15 seconds. But you just want to move it in a straight line and flush it with new oil. Just get it cooled down as quickly as possible and still keep it, not too cold. So the first thing I look for as we let it drip off is make sure we stayed straight. And we did stay straight on that one. Alright, so at this point we're going to go ahead and turn off the pyrometer. That's battery powered, and I have left it on before, only to come back and find out that I did that. And then you have to take this cover off and put a 9-volt back in it. I've only done that one time, and that was enough. And we're going to go ahead and kill the furnace. Alrighty, there's the hidden tang, and in she goes, straight, and then move it. Doing this makes the shop smell like a bad transmission, because my quenching oil is about a 75-25 mix, ATF being 75% and 25% just normal olive oil. Makes for good quenching oil. Now the beauty of the hidden tang is that there isn't a whole lot of knife there to bend. And we stayed straight on that one. There's not too much of a danger of warpage with the 3/16 stock, but it can happen. Alright, get these wiped off. And we're going to get the excess oil wiped off of these. And see how that oil scale just kind of falls off the knife like old paint. So we've got a pretty nice looking finish there. We don't get a lot of decarburization in this furnace because the door fits nice and tight, and it doesn't really stay exposed to oxygen for any amount of time. So that's pretty good there. And boy, I can just keep my fingers on those. That's one of the nice things about being in the fireplace business. You develop asbestos fingers over a period of time. Okay. And I'm going to switch to this block because I cut that refractory block for 1/8" knives, and I forgot. There we go. And that just holds them apart in the drawing oven and just lets the air circulate around them. And I've got the drawing oven warmed up now, so we're going to get this one cleaned off. Well, I tell you what, they don't look like much at this stage. but it's only temporary. We'll just get as much of this oil off as we can. Then after they come out of the draw, you know, it's going to go back for a light regrind, and then finishing. But yeah, you don't want to let these things cool off. No one's forgiving steel, but right now those are as glass hardened and as brittle as they can be. So you don't want to really waste a whole lot of time or let them get too cold, because they can just crack all on their own. That's how much stress is in this steel right now. But that's getting ready to get remedied. So over the next 2 hours, these are going to bake at 475 degrees. And in the meantime, I'm going to go roast a chicken. I've got the green egg fired up in the grill. It's a beautiful day. And I'm going to go have a drink and relax. And I'll bring you guys along. So, all right. Going to go draw these, and we'll see you over on the deck. Alright, we're all ready to go here. We just put sweet potatoes, a few carrots, just a little bit of onion, and then just scattered Brussels sprouts all around the inside, and put it in about 3/4 of an inch of water. And that is going to roast along with the chicken. Whew, here we go. So we just set this down in there. And there we go. I'm going to go about 2 hours at a slow smoke. Then we'll stick a probe thermometer in there. And we get about 180 degrees. It's going to be time to eat. So now I don't have anything to do. The knives are in the drawing oven. And the chicken is in this oven. So it's time for a drink. I'd like to take a moment here to say ahoy to my friend Pat Bennett. Cheers. They're both knives out of the draw. And just laid them on the anvil, and it's pulled all the heat out of them now. Just wanted to give you a look of what they look like, you know, right out of the drawing oven. And I don't try to shine them up first. I kind of know what I'm going to see, that purplish blue color, which is what we're shooting for. And I know that the heat treatment went well. So from this point, what we're going to go to is a light regrind, just to get any of the heat treatment scale off of there. And then we're going to go probably fall back to 220 to get that off. And then we'll go 240, 320, 4, 5, 6, up to 800. And I even have 1,000 and 1,200 grit belts. We're going to run these things through before we get them on the wheel. And then the next time you see them, they'll be cleaned up, and we're going to be soldering and peening the guards on. And then after that, man, it's attaching the handles and getting those shaped down. Then we're making sheaths, and we'll be done with these two knives, and getting them sharpened up, get a logo on them, and on to the next project. But the heat treatment went well, and if you follow the directions that the steel manufacturers give you, it's going to go well. No surprises. If you just stick with a recipe, you'll make a good biscuit, so to speak. So we'll come back when we have these things cleaned up.